Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. Manchester United 2, Tottenham 2. I tell you what are your thoughts on that game? Give us your player ratings. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. You can do that through the link in the description. Look, I'm not going to change my mind. Amorim got very, very lucky there. And you know what? It reminds me of that Brentford game a couple of years ago with Ten Hag where McTominay scored 2 late goals and we won a game and people came in saying it was embarrassing to celebrate it. I'm never not going to be happy about Manchester United, the club I love, getting results. But there are levels to this game. And whilst Man United not losing is always a positive, that was a bad Man United performance for the second week in a row. I don't believe what Amorim is telling us. I don't believe that we're turning a corner. I don't believe that we're learning. I don't believe we can trust this senior leadership team that he keeps chucking out into games. How can you be 1-0 up 2 weeks in a row and end up drawing 2-2? Luckily, Ahmad last week, Worldy, De Ligt this week, last minute equaliser. That's not sustainable. You know, that's not going to get us top 4. If anything, we could have lost 2 games. We had no right. Then this is my point, right? There are so many mistakes that Amorim made today. And I'm sure he'll come out and go, yeah, but look at the character. Look at the work, look at the determination. Yeah, we're not in a relegation battle, mate. We're trying to get in the top 5. That is not sustainable. You can't keep relying on a bit of luck or a worldie to get back in a game you should be winning. Why is it for the second week in a row, we've created sod all in the second half? I mean, look, we should have lost. Vicario had his slippers on. Lemens made 3 big saves and still conceded 2. It's not his fault. De Ligt was brilliant. Defensively we were quite good. The midfield was, apparently there's a missing persons report for our midfield. They were that shit. We created nothing in the second half, really. All right, Sesko should have probably done a little bit better with that chance, but it was a good tackle by Van der Ven. But it's just pure luck at the end. It's pure luck. And like, we should have won that game. We should be winning that game, and I'm struggling to find the positives beyond the fact that we didn't lose. And that's great. But I'm never going to dress it up. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments saying, stop moaning, it's 5 games unbeaten, that's progress. That's great. But I tell you what, did we deserve to win that game? No. Should we have lost it? Probably. Did we deserve to beat Forest? No. Should we have lost it? Probably. Did we deserve to beat Liverpool? Yes, but on a different day, they missed a lot of chances and it could have been a draw or a loss. The only game I've been convinced about in this mini international break period is Brighton. The 3 away games, we've been bloody lucky to take 5 points from 9. And yeah, let's take the positives, but we are not learning. And that's the problem. He is not learning and we are not learning. Like this, the changes he made today, we played shit. We had 2 shots on target and both went in. We should be having a lot more chances against the Spurs side like that. It was strange. It was a really strange. And look, people need to realise that when you drop Yoro and Sesko and Delo, it's not 3 changes. It's 3 changes, but then Ahmad moves to 10 from right wing back. That's 4. De Ligt moves from centre back to right centre back. That's 5. And Mbeumo moves from right 10 to left 10. That's 6. They're different positions. I'm sorry. That's a different role. It's a different position. So he makes 6 changes. And we played like a team that had made six changes, especially in the second half. We didn't play with any fluidity. I mean, we'd be better off picking the bloody cast from Strictly Come Dancing. At least they turn up every Saturday and show a bit of rhythm. Like, there's no fluidity in that team. And the second half was abysmal. And yes, Cunha had a bad game. And we'll talk about Bruno. But we didn't play well. And the great thing would have been to win 1-0 like we should have done and go, ha, we played shit and we beat Spurs. That's what should have happened today. That's why I'm frustrated, because I'm not saying that a point's not a positive because we've rescued a defeat. We've rescued a draw from a defeat. But I'm confused why we didn't win. And I think in the journey that we're trying to go on, we can't just be happy with these 2 draws. Last week, I think many of us just went, look, we've won 3 games in a row. We've drawn against Forest. It's a worldie from Ahmad. Let's take the positive. But 2 in a row, we can't. I was watching the game today and I was like, I get it. I get what he's doing, right? He's picking Casemiro, he's picking Bruno, he's picking Shaw, he's picking Maguire. He's going with experience to try and get results. And in the long term, they'll all disappear and he'll build a better team. But if they're not getting results anyway, what's the fucking point? You may as well keep people like Yoro in the team. You may as well give Mainu and Agate a run out. You may as well start Sesko, because we're not picking up the wins that these experienced players are meant to be delivering. And we're not playing experienced either. We're not. So this over-reliance on Bruno, Casemiro, Shaw, Maguire, and I think if Maguire had stayed on the pitch, well, I don't know, because neither of the goals were headers really, were they? You just felt those goals were coming for Spurs because all we were doing was defending. And this is where I talk about the midfield, because I'm sure most of you know this, but the reason the midfield was getting so many pelters throughout that game, I mean, it started at half-time, and I've got to put my hands up and say I was probably a little bit blinkered by the 1-0. I felt Spurs weren't going to score. And I thought we would, I thought at 1-0, surely we'll get the second goal somehow and we'll kill the game off. A lot of people at half-time were saying Bruno is having a shit game, Casemiro's below average, the midfield is shit. But you're winning 1-0, the back five's doing well, and you think, come on, let's not be too negative. So I'll give credit to the people on the watch-along. A lot of people at half-time were saying Bruno and Casemiro are shit. And the warning signs were there then, weren't they? But in the second half, I really noticed it. I mean, Bruno going into 50-50s like a toe poke and not putting any effort in. You can't have that. You can't have that. You've got to impose yourself. If you've got people like De Ligt and Shaw and Dorgu and Maguire putting their bodies on the line and Lement's putting their body on the line, the midfield's got to put their body on the line. And he's going into 50-50 tackles as the captain of the club like a bloody sheet of paper. There's just no resistance. The passing was piss poor as well. And that became more and more of a problem as Spurs became more and more desperate to score. The first goal itself comes from Agate getting run past, but us losing the ball in the midfield. I think it was a pass from Bruno into Mount or something. But it was a constant theme in the second half. The midfield were just, I don't think they were good in the first half, but they were even worse in the second half. And this is what we talk about when we say games are won and lost in the midfield. Of course, Agate plays Richarlison onside and, he loses his man. You could blame Agate for both goals. But that's not really what I'm talking about. The defence played well, the men's played well, but you can only do so much when it's constant. The midfield are meant to give you respite. The midfield are meant to feed the attack to get you up the pitch. If you don't do that for 45 minutes when you're 1-0 up, you're in trouble. We spoke about it at half-time. We've got to keep the ball better. If we've got the ball, they haven't got the ball. And the midfield just fell apart again, like it did last week. And we're surviving on, a little bit of effort at the end to get, an Ahmad Worldy or a De Ligt last-minute header. The midfield is a huge, huge problem. We know that. And the substitute that really killed us, by the way, it wasn't Dalot. I mean, it's funny that we were winning 1-0 when Dalot came on and we lost 2-1. And, Dorgu on a yellow card or Dalot at left wing back, it's a hard choice for Amorim. But, whatever. The substitute that lost the game for us was Casemiro. That substitute killed us. Because Bruno in the midfield was not making tackles and was giving the ball away. So to keep him on and take Casemiro off, who wasn't on a yellow card, it's bloody obvious that when you're 1-0 up and you're not creating anything and Bruno's playing shit in the tackle, take him off and put Agate next to Casemiro. Solidify your midfield. What does he do? He brings Agate on, who has a stinker. Bruno continues to have a stinker. And this is it. I'm sorry. The title says Amorim Costas. His stubbornness and insistence on keeping Bruno Fernandes on every fucking game in the midfield is incredible. It's incredible. And I'm not saying if he took Bruno off, we wouldn't have drawn the game. But how he keeps playing 90 minutes every week. And, I mean, all right, he's the captain. But what sort of captain performance is that? He's had a right stinker and is responsible for the midfield being inept. I mean, I'm sorry, if I'm Dorgu or I'm De Ligt or I'm Mbeumo and I'm seeing that 50-50 with Porro where he sort of he's the favourite to win it. He's the favourite to win that tackle and he sort of puts his foot in and goes, ooh, maybe. It's a great opportunity as a captain to go crunch and then your players respond as well. So look, I ain't blaming Bruno for that. That's on Amorim. Amorim's made mistakes today. He's made too many changes in the team. We had no coherence. We had no rhythm at all. We've scored 2 good goals because Mbeumo and De Ligt have took them. They've took 2 chances very, very well. We created hardly anything else. We didn't pass the ball well. We had very little rhythm. Our defence played well. And we're very lucky to get a draw out of that game. So tell me what Amorim did well in that game, because I don't think he did. I think despite his decisions, those players, 3 or 4 of them, Lemens, Ahmad, Mbeumo, De Ligt, those 4 players can walk off with they had a very good game. There's 2 or 3 who had an okay game. But somebody said calm down. We need Champions League. Look, we may still get Champions League football. Hopefully we're going to buy players in January. We bloody need to. And I'll give you a positive in a moment. But to all those people going, calm down, it's just a draw. I'm sorry, I don't think you're passionate about Manchester United. If you're just sat there going, I'm going to get on with my weekend, it's not a bad point, I don't think you're getting it. I don't think you watch the game. The top 4 will be Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal because they're better than us. But 5th place is there. It's like a cup of tea on the mantelpiece that says your name on it. Drink, enjoy. It's there. But results like today and results like last week, and more importantly, performances like today, will hurt us. Because if we played well today and we played well last week and it was a good point, you'd go, look, these are good results on the road. We keep winning at home. Yabba dabba do. And that we might be okay. We might still get 5th. Like Newcastle lost 12 games and got 5th. So we might be okay. But let's just have a little bit of standards here. If we accept that and go, that's a good point, we're letting them off the hook. There was a lot of mistakes today. And what if those mistakes continue and we start to go on a bad run? We have to demand better. There are 3 or 4 players that played well. There's 2 or 3 players that played okay. And there's some that massively underperformed. There were bad decisions by the manager. He's lucky. He can't just roll out, we're changing, we're getting a better mentality. That was not a good mentality in the second half. And it wasn't a good mentality against Forest. And we have a whole week to prepare for it. And I'm still really confused why for the second week in a row, we've come out in the second half and switched off. And that's got to stop. We've got Crystal Palace away, set in 2 games' time. We've got a very good run of fixtures in December. Where we're going to be in the league, I don't know. Probably about 8th or 9th. But we should have won today. And the performance needs to be better. It's funny enough as well, I said it at half time. Do you not think there's a case to say that Amorim makes too many changes? I think he makes too many changes in his team. Apparently, De Ligt has come out and said the team was tired. I mean, how you can be tired when we didn't play in Europe midweek and they did, I don't know. But there is a very good point to be said. There's 2 points, and then I'm going to get into your comments, and then we'll do the player ratings. There's 2 points to be said. First of all, it is not acceptable to put performances in like that when you've had a whole week and everybody else hasn't. We didn't play Bournemouth, who had the week off. We played Spurs. We have to be better than Spurs in the second half because they played on Tuesday. We have to be better on the ball. We have to have more energy. Why are we not having that? Why for the second week in a row are we so lethargic in the second half? That's not acceptable. You've had all week. There's players on the bench. It's a big squad. These second half performances are not acceptable. The second thing is, and this is a positive, is that if Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Joel Glazer put their hands in their pocket as soon as they can and get us a couple of midfielders, we probably will become a good team. I don't think this team is going to become what it did last season. I think that's gone. I think what we're talking about here is we need Champions League football. It is there. And it's disappointing that we keep fucking it up. Last week, if we'd won, we'd have been in the top 4. This week, if we'd won, we would have been in the top 4. But I look at that midfield and I go, Bruno and Casemiro aren't good enough. If we buy 2 decent midfielders, we will be better. Our front 3 is good. Our back 5 is good. Our goalkeeper is good. If we get 2 good midfielders into that team, we will be better. That is what needs to happen because that is the weakness. You can defend as well as you like and you can take the 1 or 2 chances you get. But if we have a good midfield, we won't need to defend as much and we will have more chances. So if we can be clinical with 2 shots on target and score 2 goals, and we can defend well but concede 2 goals, if we had a good midfield, we wouldn't concede as many and we would score more. And this is where we need to change drastically. I think there is something to be said about Agate as well. I have sympathy for him because it's very difficult, like Mazraoui, when you're not playing to get thrown in for half an hour. You're off the pace, you're not match fit. But clearly Amorim doesn't trust him. Otherwise he'd be starting him. So Casemiro and Bruno are not the answer. Agate doesn't look like he's the answer. It doesn't feel like Manu is the answer. So yeah, you know, we need to solve that midfield because I don't know about you. I'm tired of feeling like that today. You know, I've calmed down a little bit through the show. It's therapy, but I'm not going to change how I feel. I feel frustrated with that result. I feel frustrated, and that's a good thing. But I feel frustrated. I'm frustrated at being in winning positions and then realizing that we probably won't win. And actually, we're very lucky to draw. We're very, you know, I'm almost in shock that we've drawn. We were very lucky to draw. Sai, thanks for joining the members club. Second half wasn't bad. Casemiro sub, Maguire and Sesko injury are what cost us the game. Agate was bad today, says V, but playing alongside Bruno made him worse. He looks better playing with Manu, says V. Man U philosophy says we weren't bad, but we managed to draw because we show character. I'm sorry, mate. You will get a lot of people agreeing with you, but I'm just going to say I completely disagree. So Man United philosophy says, second half wasn't bad. I thought it was shite. We created nothing. We got dominated. We were lethargic. There was some good individual performances, but I thought we were shit. I don't think the Maguire and Sesko injury really made a difference. They were still going to attack us. They were still going to do it. And I don't think we showed massive character to get back into the game. I think it was a corner and Dillit scored. I'm sorry, I'll take the positive of the draw, but I'm not going to pretend like last week that, you know, we're heading in the right direction. There was a lot of stupid mistakes today, and they're not acceptable when you've had all week off. I don't understand why we made 6 changes to a team as well. We played with no fluidity. We played with no rhythm. We had no character. We had no composure. We only had 2 shots on target. The passing accuracy was factually terrible. The midfield was awful. Like, there are times to say that's a good point, and it is a good point, but there are also times to say we were lucky and you need to do fucking better than that. And it's Spurs. With all due respect, Spurs. Chelsea should have beat them 4-0 last week. We're now taking a draw. Wharton and Anderson, please, says Sterling. Blame Bruno all you want, but this team absolutely drops off a cliff after the subs. They're absolutely nowhere near good enough, says Devolt 66. It's an interesting point about the subs, because I actually thought Delo was shit. We know he's shit. But, you know, what do you do? Dorgu's on a yellow card. I don't mind that sub, you know, really. Mount, I thought, did okay, but did he do okay? I don't know. Maybe I've missed that. Sesko, look, didn't do particularly well and then got injured. Agate was bad, but I think the midfield's just not good enough. I think in a game like that, I want to bring on Conor Gallagher. I want to bring on Paulinho. I want to bring on Curtis Jones. I want to bring on, you know, I want to bring on a midfielder. I don't want to bring on Agate for fucking Casemiro. You know, I don't want to do that. I want to take Bruno off, you know. Mark, what's more annoying is that he always does this again. Spurs, this is his 4th game versus Spurs and he still hasn't fixed the tactics to counter them, says Adnan. Exactly, we should have won. Spurs got jammy, says Ollie. Bad game, but first point in 5 games against Spurs, says Bart. I mean, I'm not taking that as a positive tonight, mate. I'm not going out on the piss tonight going, it's the first point against Spurs. Come on. I feel so sorry for Xerxes. He can't even get on the pitch, says Dylan. Well, Dylan. Good point. If Sesko's out for 6 weeks, what do? We haven't got a backup striker. So maybe Xerxes gets some time. You're overly harsh. Bruno had a bad game, but corner to Dillit, though. A draw away is not bad. Unlucky with Sesko injury. It's a draw. Nick, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. I said it at the start. Some people probably won't like my opinion, but I'm sorry. It's the 2nd week in a row where we've been fucking shit in the second half, where we should have won the game, and we're sat here going, it's a good point. We saved the point. It's Spurs and Forest away. We went to Anfield and won. I'm sorry, I think it's at least 2 points dropped today. Don't forget, nowhere near Spurs' strongest team as well, says Zaid. Yeah, well, again, it's a weak Spurs side. 5 minutes where we switch off and Sesko makes us go to 10 men. How is that an Amorim? Agenda is real. Oh, shut up, LJ. Grow the fuck up. I back Amorim. Agenda. You know what agenda is? It's somebody who doesn't like somebody having a different opinion to them. That's when someone says agenda, it's basically because they've got no argument to the person who makes a good point. I don't have an Amorim agenda. I'm just frustrated with 6 changes to the starting lineup, a crap performance, and ridiculous substitutions. And then we're meant to go, oh, we're back. We're heading in the right direction. He should be managing that game better. Doesn't mean somebody's Amorim out, mate. Like, we should not be sacking our manager. We shouldn't. We should be sticking with him. We should be giving him midfielders. But he also isn't perfect. And he's going to come out and start talking about character. He's fucking lucky that we got a point out of that game. Lucky. Because we didn't deserve it. We were rubbish in the second half. And most of it was down to this ridiculous obsession with giving a bad player 90 minutes because he wears a bloody armband. Amorim doubt is right. Poor subs, terrible performance, and too much ball watching by our midfielders. Delitten and Burmo, only ones that stand out, says Kem. Anybody who knows anything about football, our midfield was shit today. Amorim, that is the attitude of a player who thinks he's doing us a favour by staying another year and we make him the captain. Why are we surprised when he puts in a performance like that, says Sahaj. Subs show how far we have to go. Must buy in January, says Island Boy. Bruno to keep on sums up our season, says JB. 0.69 XG and 2 shots on target. That's unacceptable. At least if we talk about deserve to win. If we had an Anna and didn't buy in Burma, we're done. Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to do the play. I'll mention that in a minute because the men's is first. We can only play against one style of play, says Hader. The subs weren't wrong, but rather the options he has are the problem. Agate, Deleu aren't it, says Hitton. Point's a point, but my God, we are at our worst when we are leading games. That has to be fixed, says Sean. Yeah, we are. We don't seem to understand that we need to keep hold of the ball. And look, very, very quickly, if you're winning 1-0 against a team like Spurs or Forest, they have to abandon how they want to play. They've got to leave space. It's criminal to not just keep the ball and exploit the space. I mean, how we haven't done that 2 weeks in a row, I'm baffled by it. We're 1-0 up against teams that don't really want to attack. They leave space because they attack, and then we can't string 2 passes together to get people in like Mbeumo and Cunha. I just don't understand it. The indiscipline, the lack of IQ. I cannot get Amorim subs. We don't have Europe or any cup yet. We make those subs, says Dale. You are wrong. It's owner's fault. Amorim literally playing all 4 signings. No one in the midfield to bring in. Agate already in and no Mainu, says Roosh. I'm not wrong. Bruno played 90 minutes and he's rubbish and he's not a midfielder. I'm not wrong. Take him off. Keep Casemiro on. Spurs are terrible. Chelsea made Spurs look like a championship side. We still can't beat them. Bringing Delo on cost us because Xerxes was needed, says Brian. Game plan is to maintain 1-0. It's a joke, says Muad. Yeah, well, if our plan was to keep a clean sheet, you should have figured out when Lemens made 2 brilliant saves that needed to change. NZ Outsiders says, I've backed Agate since he joined the club and thought he'd had a good performance, especially since he's playing with Bruno in the midfield, but that was his worst 18 minutes. Casemiro wasn't bad, so when you consider the fact he's playing alone in that midfield, says Andre. Mike says, we are making progress. We drew away to the 3rd place team who had previously beat us 4 in a row. Take the point and move on. Or we drew away to a team 3rd from bottom and we drew away to a team 4th from bottom for home form. Are they not told to cross the ball, says Keel. The 3 subs were too aggressive, but I'm also worried about Sesko. Well, I'm worried about him anyway, Adoni, because I think that's a bad injury. Martin says, I get the frustration, but my question is, do we actually have the players for the performance you expect? I don't think we do. Well, I do, Martin, because I think there was so many bad decisions on the pitch, so many bad passes, so many ducking from tackles, some bad team selections. I think we could have been better. Yes, we need to buy a couple of midfielders, but I still think we could have been better. Emily says we need to be stronger away from home, but our problem is we don't have a strong starting 11. We were 15th last season, 3 wins and 2 draws. This season is a huge improvement. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Connor. Well done. I'll leave it there. You need Mainu in Bruno replace Cunha, says Ayush. Jerry says, come on, it's the midfield. What was Amorim to do? He has experience, but oldish players in midfield. Who's he going to replace them with? He was anticipating the opponent's game. It's on the players. He should have kept Casemiro on and subbed Bruno off for the 6th time. We're supposed to learn from our mistakes, but we seem to keep making them. Also, how's about this? Maybe move Mazraoui into the midfield and take Bruno off. You know, there's multiple things he could have done to get Bruno out that midfield. We're supposed to learn from our mistakes, but we seem to keep making them, says Austin. Toby says, stop moaning. Not taking Bruno off is a disgrace, says Evan Whelan. What a waste of a game. I hope this doesn't continue, but De Ligt deserved it, says Ferrell. When are we going to realise our build-up play is unsustainable? We cannot create chances, and it isn't only today. Feel like a loss. Feel gutted, says Kai. Went from 3 points to fighting for a draw. Soft from Sesko going off and leaving us with 10, says Ali. No, I think that's a bad injury, mate. Because I can tell it's a bad injury because it was a nothing challenge from Van der Ven. Notice the pattern when Casemiro goes off, says Shan. I'm glad you've noticed that. Eye test on Sesko. We ain't winning titles with him, says Sai. Sesko needs to look at 100 clips of Haaland, his orientation and movement before receives the ball, says Stephen. I'm happy to have taken a point in the end, but the big thing that needs to be solved in the progress of a 45-minute team, says Pengas. Sesko was good when he came on and unlucky, says Adhawk. Why did Sesko play on the wing? He should have been in the middle, says Hop. And we're throwing the toys out of our trams, says YL. Amorim's going to be the best manager in 3 years, says Peak. I think if we can get a midfield, the journey might start. The small sums Amorim made I liked. However, that big decision to take Bruno off, he fumbled, and that decided the game, says Big B. If a player gets tired, sub him off. Can't blame Amorim, says Dominic. Why are they getting tired, mate? 1 game a week, and you're tired after an hour. We're in 15th place for passing accuracy with an average of 80. This game only 78. The numbers don't lie, says Marlowe. Yeah, and it's another game where we've had lower than 50% possession. Someone run the stats on that. How many games have we had under 50% possession this season? Low passing accuracy and low possession. Why? I don't blame Amorim. 60 million midfielder coming on was pathetic, says David. Amorim relies too much on individual brilliance, says Maliki. Total carbon copy of Forest. Fell asleep second half, says Marcus. I don't want to hear that Sesko's young, says Theodore. We just saved a point. Celebrate the positive, says YL. Poor subs. Ahmad right wing back, and of course the mighty Sesko cost us the win. That wasn't a good performance by any means. I really hope Amorim brings Rasmus back. He will work well in the team, says Arid. You look very submissive today, says Clev. Right, okay, let's do the player ratings because they're waiting in Manchester. And I'm sure some of them in Manchester will have your opinion, but I have mine, and that's the way it works. Okay, so Le Mans, for me, 7. I think with Le Mans, the big thing I would say is 2 big saves, commands his box really well, takes crosses. The 2 saves he made where he gets it out of danger and Nana never would. Having a goalkeeper who... Look, let's put it this way. If we hadn't bought Le Mans on the final day of the season, the transfer window, we'd have lost that game today comfortably. We'd have lost that game maybe 3-1. He did things that Binder and Onana can't do. He does the basics really, really well. He's not at fault for either goal. Both of them got deflections right in front of him. We were lucky to get a draw today, but our goalkeeper played well. What does that say? Yeah, he did really well. De Ligt, man of the match, 7.5. The goal at the end rescued us. I also thought he had a very, very good game as well. And yeah, I thought he had a good game. A little bit unlucky with their first goal, but yeah, definitely our best defender, definitely our best player on the pitch, and rescued us as well. So what more do you want? Hopefully he'll start getting some credit from our ex-player community because he never does. So yeah. Maguire was probably a 6.5 for me. I think that obviously doesn't have the pace, but for the aerial ball, that's why he was picked. And it was a shame he got injured, but I don't think he would have played 90 minutes anyway. Amorim always takes a centre-back off, and Maguire's only coming back from injury. So people saying if he'd stayed on the pitch, it would have saved the game. I don't think it would, because I think he would have been subbed anyway. Luke Shaw, 6 for me. Again, similar to last week. First half looked good, faded massively in the second half. I question whether he can play 90 minutes, because in the second half, I've noticed with Shaw, he drops off. He starts to go missing a little bit. He starts to be slower over the first yard, and there was a couple of times where people got in. I thought Richarlison targeted him a lot. He was okay in the first half, but second half, it fell off again. Mazraoui, yeah, probably a 5.5 if I'm being honest. But I don't mind that because he's better than Delo and he hasn't played any football, so his match fitness probably wasn't right. But I'd rather see him than Delo. Casemiro, a 6. Look, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. And the midfield was a massive, massive problem today, though, as ever. Bruno, 5. Passing was poor. Decision-making was poor. Tackling was cowardly. Positional sense was rubbish. Leadership, you'd expect better. Should have been subbed off. Stayed on the pitch. Midfield was a massive problem. Dorgu, a 6 for me. Maybe even a 6.5. I thought he had a good game. Gave us more balance down the left-hand side. Definitely a huge step up on Delo. And if it's Delo or Dorgu, it's Dorgu every week. Is he the finished article? No. Is he a prospect? Yes. Is he better than Delo? 100%. So, yeah, it's, I thought he did okay. Mbermo, probably a 6.5 for me. Again, brilliant goal in the first half. Second half, not in the game. Graveyard shift, don't use him. So I think he went from a 7 at half time, where you'd hope he becomes a 7.5, and through no fault of his own, he drops to a 6.5 because he's not in the game, because we're not utilising him, because we're not getting the ball through the midfield. He's just a passenger. He's not in the game in the second half. Ahmad, 6.5 as well. No, 7. Played a lovely ball through to Bruno in the second half. Played probably 2 positions in the game. Yeah, 7 for me. I thought Ahmad played well, actually. Brilliant assist. Constant tenacity and work rate. Good passing, good tackling. Yeah, good performance from Ahmad. Cunha, probably a 5.5. Yeah. Lots of endeavour, just a bad game. And leave it at that. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. People have bad games. I think he was getting frustrated. It was definitely a graveyard shift in the second half as well. Yoro didn't really notice, so I'd give a 6. Yeah. Again, didn't make any mistakes really. Yeah, 5. Definitely Ugarte. That was a stinker of a cameo really. 5 just doesn't give us anything, does he? Makes the defence shaky. Yeah. Mount I thought was okay. I'd give him a 6. Sesko, got to be a 5, hasn't it? It was a bad cameo. I thought there was a ball from Mount on his left foot, and I've seen him score goals with his left foot, and I don't know why he didn't hit it. Lack of confidence. And then the one where he got injured, I know Van der Ven tackled him, but I feel you've got to be aware of that tackle and take it first time. I'd need to see it again, but I think if you're a striker in the Premier League and Van der Ven's coming back and he's quick, you can't take a touch. And I think he needed to take it first time. And I think it was a good enough ball to take it first time. And even if it wasn't, you've still got to take it first time. You're not always going to get the perfect pass. So he's got himself injured and missed a very good chance because he didn't take it first time. And I think he's got to learn to do that. But again, another prospect. Okay. Amorim, 5 for me. Oh, I'm surprised. I'm surprised by some of the chat that you actually agree with me. The Bruno decision, horrific. The amount of changes he made at the start, horrific. The performance, below par. Lucky to get a point. I don't think he did much by design today as a manager that you'd go, oh, that's on you, that's on you. There was a lot of mistakes. And the big thing is he made too many changes. And the big statement is not a lot is changing. We are still massively unpredictable. We are still Mr. and Mrs. Well, no, Mr. because we're a male team. We're still Mr. Inconsistent. We can beat anybody on our day and we can fuck it up on our day. And we're still very much the United side that we've always been. We're better than last season because we're not losing games that we would have lost. We would have lost this last season. If Lemens wasn't in goal, we'd have lost it. So yeah, there is an improvement because we're drawing instead of losing. But look who we're drawing to. Spurs 4th from bottom at home. Forest bottom 3. We shouldn't be drawing these games. And yeah, that's what I'm feeling. If Amorim doesn't make subs, the fans complain. If he does, they still complain. No, Nee, you're not listening. You're not listening. He made too many changes at the start of the game. He kept Bruno on all game. It's not as simple as going, if he doesn't make subs, if he does make subs. It's the decisions he's making. Too many changes and the wrong people staying on the pitch. Sorry, I'm going back there. I need to do man of the match. So hopefully we get the butcher back soon, says Forza. Last season we lose the game, says Lewis. Mojo's in the house. We now need to give time to Sesko to get used to the Premier League while we let go of Hoyland, who had 2 years and could be more productive. Josh says, you're complaining about the midfield, but bringing Ugarte on cost us 2 goals and keeping Bruno on rescued as a point. Yeah, I've had enough of the internet today. What the fuck are you talking about? How does your brain work, Josh? Agate cost us the game and Bruno got us the equaliser. How's about we took off a total waste of space who wouldn't tackle anybody and kept giving the ball away? How's about we took him off at 1-0 and kept Casemiro on and we won the game 1-0? What are you talking about that Bruno rescued us the game? Oh my God. Oh my God. And this is player FC for you. This is progress for you. Mad. Absolutely mad. Player of the match, man of the match. I went a bit woke there. Player of the match. Man of the match. Delit. Make sure you smash a like on the video for that. Casemiro can't do 90 minutes and well, if Casemiro can't do 90 minutes, Caleb, why is he starting games for Man United? Why are we picking players that can't play 90 minutes when playing one game a week? And the funny thing about that, Caleb, is I guarantee you Casemiro will play 2 games for Brazil and play a lot of those minutes. Come on. Come on. Stop talking out your arse. Bruno, ball in for the equaliser. Casemiro hasn't got the energy. Oh, my God. Bruno FC, go and enjoy yourself on the fan forum, because there's probably someone on the forum who's Bruno FC. I'm back at 8 o'clock with you lot. We can discuss it more then, but I've had enough of the internet for today. Thanks everyone for watching. Delit, hopefully we'll get the headlines. He thoroughly deserves it. Well done everybody for lasting all the way through there. Apologies for that at the end, but these people do exist. And this is why we'll never progress, because you can have an absolute stinker in a Man United shirt and still get defended by the people with the posters on the wall. Speak to you in a bit. Take care.